Welcome everyone back to the St. Pete by Night Twitch stream where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer version of the World of Darkness set in the 5th edition rules. My name is Kent. I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night. You can find me at Kent on all social media, but that's not really important. What you should do is you should go follow St. Pete by Night on all social media. We are on TikTok. We are on X. We are on Instagram. You can find us there to find all kinds of amazing content from behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, artwork. The full gamut of possibilities are on our social media. So go follow us there to get updates about the game and upcoming streams and all sorts of things that we do on those social medias. I am not alone, however. This game has to have some amazing players, and I am lucky enough to have the most amazing players joining me tonight. Let's take a look at them and allow them to introduce themselves. Take it away.
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Gale Stalker Arun.
Hi everybody, I'm Champ, or Champagne, whatever you want to call me. I will be playing Aspen Weiss, the Silver Blang Philodox. This is going great so far. I'm doing a great job. This is good.
Hi everybody. This is going wonderful. I am Nori, and tonight I will be playing Melissa's Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Hi, I'm Simon. I'll be playing Joseph Ash Speaker tonight, and I am a Ghost Council Theurge.
It honestly would not be a St. Pete stream if there weren't technical issues and flubbed words. This is going amazingly and right at the bars of what we expect. So, tonight's story is called Chapter 2, Turncoat. Last we saw our intrepid pack, they had just kind of come together officially for the first time, having been drawn to the same location, whether it be through circumstance, whether it be through something else. They all came together at Joseph Ash Speaker's shop, or the shop he works at, in Ybor City, where they came to figure out what exactly was going on, what was calling them to this place. Little did they know that, of course, the spirits were involved, having been dormant and quiet and, for all intents and purposes, dead for a long time. They have started to awake, and they have called this pack together to reawaken the ancient cairns all throughout the city and to battle against the worm and the forces of evil that are bringing about the inevitable, or seemingly inevitable, apocalypse and the death of Gaia. Tonight we're going to start a week ago, following the meeting of this pack in Ybor City. As everyone starts to disperse and head their separate directions, Aspen, you find yourself still wearing the baggy clothes that are ill-fitting and not to your liking. What do you want to do? Do you want to risk changing again and make your way out of the city, or would you prefer to find a way home?
I would prefer to find a way home.
Okay. So as you are kind of getting out your phone, oh, you don't even have your phone on you. You kind of go to call a cab from the landline of the facility. Artie kind of looks over the long blonde dreadlocks in his face and says, "Hey, I can give you a lift. I mean, you probably don't want to go walking around looking like that, and I don't know where you came from, but I know how rough it can be getting back."
Yeah, no, I don't really want to go out like this. Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. So he kind of looks over his shoulder and gives a wave to Jester and Joseph as they exit the shop out onto the busy street of Ybor City. You can see that there are people moving about, a lot of tourists, some college students looking to get a little nip in before midterms really get into full swing. And Artie just kind of shoves his hands in the pockets of the battered pants he's wearing and starts walking along, looking over his shoulder every now and then to make sure that you're following. And as you kind of turn a corner and start heading down a side street, he says, "This is all pretty weird, huh?"
That's a word for it, for sure. Yes.
So remind me again, how long have you been us?
Oh, decent amount of time. About 2 years, give or take.
And what do you really think of all this? Takes some adjustment and getting used to. I'm not even sure I'm used to it yet. It's been a decade or so for me.
It's fine. I mean, it is a learning curve, definitely. But I'm adjusting. You've been at this a lot longer, right?
Yeah. It's good that you found some people to work with you. I wasn't as lucky. I kind of had to figure a lot of it out on my own until I learned that there were others, and then figured out the rest. And he kind of turns into what looks to be a gravel parking lot that's kind of set back a little less than a block away from the shop. And as you walk into the parking lot, almost immediately your senses are assaulted by the signs of roosters and chickens that just seem to be cohabitating in the parking lot. They move around with not a care in the world, seemingly unperturbed by your presence. Some of them are standing near cars, pecking at food that seems to have been dropped out of the passenger seat or driver's seat of cars. Some are over by dumpsters, kind of scavenging over there. But they are a common sight in this area and are even, to many's surprise, a protected species in Ybor specifically, having been there since the days of the Cuban cigar factories and having just continued to live in the area despite the evolution of the city around it. Artie kind of smiles and looks over at you and says, "Well, I think it's time that you met a friend of mine."
Absolutely.
He kind of gestures, and as you follow his gaze and the pointing hand, you see what looks to be the oldest, most beat-up Jeep you have ever seen. You're not sure if it's green, you're not sure if it's blue, you're not sure if it's brown. Somehow it is all of those colors at the same time. It's got kind of a hard top with some ragged windows, kind of a loose fabric windows. And as he approaches it, he says, "Aspen, I'd like you to meet Regina."
Oh, so you're somebody who names their cars. Good. That makes sense for you.
I didn't name it. It named itself.
Sure it did.
Right. Just get in. I'll show you. And as you
Okay.
kind of make your way over to the passenger door, you open the handle, and immediately on the seat you see what looks to be a garbage bag full of like crushed up cans and other recyclables that look like they've been collected from the side of the road. The most present among them seem to be energy drinks, Monsters, Red Bulls, just a variety of hard-hitting stuff. You're even pretty sure you see a Jolt Cola, which hasn't been around for a very, very long time, kind of crushed in the bag. And Artie immediately scrambles over and grabs the bag and says, "Sorry, haven't been to the store yet," and just kind of shoves it over the seat into the back where you hear the clinking and crunching of cans as it hits. He quickly wipes off the seat itself and says, "Okay, get in."
Thank you. And she'll climb into the Jeep and like daintily kind of sit. Try not to touch anything.
You see that the seatbelt that is pulled across actually has duct tape around certain parts of the belt itself, as if it had frayed and started to fall apart, but having to have some semblance of a seatbelt it is still holding together. Artie gets in, and normally when someone gets in a car, you expect them to pat their pockets, pull out their keys, and start the engine. But instead, he kind of just holds the steering wheel and starts to just kind of talk in a very, very low voice to the steering wheel itself. He goes, "Okay, Jenny, I know you don't like the Harry Potter references. I know you don't like the cracks, but we've got a guest today, and I really need you to be cool with me, okay? Like, just make this as easy as possible." And he kind of runs his hands along the steering wheel and then just kind of pats the hood. And after 3 taps of the dashboard, the car sputters to life. And just kind of with a rumble and a groan, kind of the engine turns over. And he says, looking over to you, he says, "Don't mind her. She's in a good mood today." And with that, he shifts the car into drive and pulls the Jeep out of the parking lot, heading onto the city streets. So, where are we going?
Oh, do you know where Lucky Lake Park is?
Yes. That's a good place. That's not like a camper park.
No. Well, kind of.
Oh. Okay. Any port in a storm, right? And he,
Exactly. And she's just kind of like looking around like uncomfortably, like I just got in a car with a basic stranger, like this, and he is talking to it. It's very strange.
So he continues driving. Every now and then you can hear the Jeep kind of sputter and cough a little bit, and he just speaks to it again, gently stroking the steering wheel, which allows it to kind of roar back to life a little bit more. After a few minutes of kind of awkward silence, do you want to play a game?
This isn't like the start of like a murder movie, right? Where you say you want to play a game and then next thing
No,
you know,
but
you
it-
have like a trap on your head.
Having just been Halloween, it would make sense that you. No, it's nothing like that. No. No, it's a game.
Okay, sure. As she's like
Okay.
fidgeting with the clothes that are way too big for her.
I'll tell you something about me if you tell me something about you, but it's got to be something that I couldn't tell just by looking at you. Something very few people know.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. So it seems like we're going to be working together for a while, and I'm not the most trusting person, but since this is kind of a necessity thing, it seems that it's inevitable that we're supposed to do this. I kind of lied to you back at the shop.
That's always a good way to start.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of an instinct thing. I'm not a bone gnawer. I say that because that's kind of the assumption people make. I mean, a lot of people don't even bother to ask what tribe I'm from, but I like to let people underestimate me and think the wrong thing. I'm actually what they call a glass walker. Do you know what that is?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, that's what I am.
Oh, okay. When
I
you
didn't-
said Bonar, I was not surprised. So
Yeah, but I don't like starting things off with a lie. I don't like hiding things from the people that I'm supposed to be traveling with. I mean, Joseph already knows, but he just kind of lets me do my thing while I feel people out. But you seem like you need something to trust. And so I felt like it was important that I'm honest with you and kind of clear up that notion.
She shifts in her seat. Thank you. I appreciate that. I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one. I was raised by a single mom.
Okay. Where?
Boise.
Oh, wow. So you've like really come a long way.
Yeah. I traveled with Aiden. You said he owed you or you owed him. Was that what you said?
Yeah, I owe him one. We had a little run-in a while back over I think a discarded cheeseburger, and I knew not to take my chances with that one, so I owe him one.
I'm not surprised. A cheeseburger. Yeah, he should be around here. Hopefully, you guys can meet up and talk old times, I guess.
Sure. Kind of goes quiet again. Every now and then he kind of glances over, but mostly keeps his eyes on the road, realizing that there is still a tension and an awkwardness to the situation. The rest of the drive remains fairly quiet until you pull up to the park itself. You can see that the gates are locked up and closed. Artie gets another smile on his face and climbs out of the Jeep and then walks over to the little code box, the pin box that they usually use to unlock the automatic gate for the police or parks vehicles that come in out of hours. And he kind of walks up and inspects the box a little bit and then kind of gets down really close to it. And you can see from inside the vehicle his mouth moving as if he's talking to the box itself. And he kind of gets a slightly put off look and then gestures over to the vehicle pointing towards you before continuing to talk to the box for a moment. And then you hear the gate just kind of start grinding and opening. And he gives the box a little pat and walks his way back to the car, climbing in. They seem to like you here.
And you seem to have a way with objects.
Okay. So, consider this Garou 101. Everything, or at least most things, have a spirit with it. That includes code boxes, cars. I just happen to know how to interact with and converse with them to make an arrangement of sorts.
Right. You didn't strike me as... Never mind.
What? Say it.
I just didn't think you were one of the... Like a Joseph, I guess? The...
Oh, no.
Drinking tea...
No.
Conversing with...
No, it's definitely not the Joseph level. It's... I talk to things, they talk back to me. If they don't feel like playing ball, or if there's no one to talk to, I can find other ways around it, but mostly machines. Machines and I have an understanding of sorts. Or at least most. What about you? Have you talked to any spirits?
No, not directly, I guess you could say. No.
It'll happen, eventually.
I'm sure it will. They have a way of, sneaking up on you and making you do things.
Yeah. That's putting it mildly. He pulls into the park. We're going to transition over to Aiden. Aiden, you were really jonesing for a snack earlier in the evening, so you kind of headed off on your own, hunting down something not processed, something not cooked, something a little more fresh and to your liking. And easy enough, you found a rabbit that had kind of been making its way further in the park, and you managed to make a game of it, tracking it down and hunting it like you like to do before pouncing and finding your meal. You love when the parks are closed at night because it really does allow you to stretch your legs. There's no passerbys or people riding bikes nearby, which you're still trying to figure out the understanding of why, when you have two very good legs, they would need to use automatons or make it harder on themselves. But humans be human. You return, the remnants of your kill still on your teeth and around your maw, as you see the headlights of an approaching Jeep kind of roaring up into the back area of the park, outside of where the usual trails are, where only the kind of hidden, secretive trail that you and Aspen know of that takes you back to the RV.
He's gonna keep an eye, going into his lupus form and watching the car and following closely behind to see what's going on.
Okay, go ahead and give me a dexterity and stealth. Now, in lupus form, you get a bonus to stealth. I believe it's a +2.
Six
6 successes. Okay, the vehicle does not divert. It doesn't seem to even acknowledge your presence as it kind of rumbles along, the Jeep kind of bouncing a little bit. The shocks not being the high quality you would expect from such a vehicle. Aspen, you feel yourself kind of getting jostled in the seat. And Artie kind of looks at the steering wheel and says, I know, I'll take care of it. Just hold together. And the Jeep kind of rolls up down the path until it comes up upon your RV.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate the ride. I have a question.
Sure.
Is this going to be like a long term? Is this something we're all doing now?
Yes and no. What we're doing in the grander we of it all never ends. We're kind of, or so I was told, holding off the end, stalling the end for as long as possible. It's not one of those things that you want to end, because if it does, it means the end of everything as we know it. But this group thing, I mean, it lasts as long as you want it to, really. But you're gonna always kind of find yourself looking for people if you don't stick around. No one's gonna really understand you like your fellow Garou do.
Fair enough point. Okay.
I hope you stay around for a while.
I will do what I have to do.
All right. And he puts the Jeep in the park, and well, we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thank you again for the ride, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. And
Sure.
she kind of like pats the car and it's like, and thank you for the ride.
strangely, when you kind of pat the seat, the door handle opens and the door just flings open.
I guess that's my cue. Oh, and also thank you for the clothes. I don't think I said thank you.
Oh, those aren't mine. I think those are probably Joseph's or something that got collected. But yeah, I mean, I'll try to bring them back if you can. But if not, I'll try to make sure there's something else from Goodwill or something waiting in case this happens again.
Next time I'm there, I'll bring clothes with me.
Oh,
That's fine.
okay. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay.
And as you climb out of the car, Aiden, you can see Aspen emerging from the vehicle, dressed in the probably strangest attire you've seen her in your entirety of knowing her. Now, she's maybe worn some things that might be slightly out of date, not up with fashion, not that that matters to you, but this is a complete 180, as she is wearing baggy, goth, maybe, clothing that is just hanging loosely off her form, like she's swimming in it.
He'll see her and then just kind of stop and see if someone else gets out of the car and just wait.
Pause for a few moments, and after she gets out of the car and closes the door, you can see the Jeep starts moving, getting ready to turn around and make its way out of the park.
Aiden will still hidden. He'll go back into his, back into a human and walk over to Aspen, cross the Jeep and try and make eye contact with the individual, and then walk around.
Okay. As the vehicle kind of turns and starts making its way back, you do eventually see Artie sitting in the front seat, and he just kind of points, gives a wink and finger guns, and continues to drive away.
He'll try to imitate it and not understand and keep walking. He'll get to Aspen, kind of look her up and down, like, you don't look good.
I don't feel good. Thanks, Aiden. Thanks for pointing that out to me. I appreciate it.
This is a not good choice.
It was not my choice. You missed out on a wonderful meeting that you should have been a part of.
There was a rabbit that needed to be chased and taken care of. It's gone now, though, so the park's a little bit safer for those nasty little things. I'll keep them away.
Okay, Aiden. Yes. Out of all the things that could be here, the little bunny rabbits are what I'm afraid of.
They're nasty.
Next time, if I'm going to get emails and text messages. So you're going to have to hang out around here to make sure you're around when I have to go do things. And it'll be great because there's chickens. You can chase the chickens.
Ooh. Okay. But your life's so boring. I don't want to stay around here. You go to work, come back, go to sleep. You know what I do? I go out and run, chase things.
We get the wonderful opportunity to talk to an old lady in a trailer park who is also one of us. Oh, and so is Jester, and so is Joseph, and I mean, apparently you've met Artie. So it's been an interesting night.
You met a lot of people dressed like this.
Oh no, I met most of them naked.
On purpose?
Aspen, you take a few minutes looking over Aiden, who appears to be fully dressed despite having been in his more lupine form. Even in the transition, the clothes still clung to his body, not revealing anything, which causes you to briefly reflect on the earlier evening's events, where you found yourself completely naked in the middle of the shop. Behind a curtain, but still.
No, it was not on purpose. I can tell you it was not on purpose. Also, that brings me to a point.
Mm-hmm.
When you swap and do your thing, how come you always come back with clothes on?
Oh, I was taught a thing when years ago. I can do a thing over articles of clothing as long as they're not like put through any like machines. And they're just like washed in natural bodies of water. They stay on me the whole time.
Okay, so I learned 2 things from that. One, you don't wash your clothes.
No, I do. In
Okay.
rivers, streams, this stream's kind of gross, but it's still washed.
Okay. And 2, it's a fancy trick. Is that only for you?
No.
Can you do that for me?
Well, you won't be able to wash your stuff, and apparently that's important.
Can you only do it one time for one person?
But no, the only way to clean it, you can't put it in the machine, otherwise, like, they'll have to be done again. And I don't want to keep having to touch your clothing.
Is it hard? Is it a hard thing to do?
No, it just takes a little bit of time. Fine, I'll do it. God, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just pick something and wear that a lot.
Okay. And she'll run into her RV and she'll be like, don't look, turn around. I still want to be able to hear you in the tiny little RV. And she's going to throw on like something comfortable but nicer, presentable to go out into the people's. And she'll come back out and she'll be like, how do I look? Good?
Better.
Perfect. Okay, you can do the thing now? Or do we have to wait?
You sure this is what you want to wear?
No, you know what? And she's gonna go back into the RV, change her clothes, come back out. No, I like this better.
Okay. Yeah. And then he will perform the rite of dedication.
So how would you describe the process of going through the rite? Rites aren't just simply you do them or you want them to happen and they happen. There's a process and it can often be unique to each individual. How would you go about describing your rite of dedication?
He'll have her stand in front of him, then he'll go grab like a handful of dirt and then some moss and then some bark off of a tree and like crush them into his hand and then like rub them across the clothing. And then as he's going through, he'll then go grab some of the water from the nearby stream, take that, and then kind of like splash it over her. And that should do it.
So, as you kind of channel the earth, something that you haven't had to do in a long time, you haven't had to really do this process as you've been pretty comfortable with the clothes you've been wearing for a while. At first, when you touch the ground, making the process of channeling the rite, at first you feel nothing. When you touch the earth, when you scoop up the dirt, when you touch the water, it feels very cold and empty, almost desolate. But as you kind of dig in a little bit further, really putting yourself into the process, there is a spark, a slight recognition, a slight almost awakening through the process as you perform the rite successfully. Now, for those who are watching that have never played Werewolf, the rite of dedication allows a user to bind clothes to a specific individual that will remain through any changing process so that they are not destroyed and one does not end up unexpectedly naked. the rite is complete.
Yeah, well, I know they're dirty, but the water should get most of it out. But yeah, you're good to go now.
All right. That works. It's okay. I'll probably end up putting layers on over it anyways. Stay close.
Like a superhero, like the ones in the pictures. You'll have your costume underneath and then other stuff over it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You're right.
And how close is close? Because
Do you have a cell phone?
no.
Can you get can I get you a cell phone?
That's one of the box things. Yeah. That'd be fine. I might have to. The glass is weird on it, but would you teach me how to use it?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll have one. Can it go in like water and stuff like that, or is that still a no? I've heard things about electrical things and water don't play nice.
I'll get you a case. You can make sure it's all good.
Like a briefcase. Cool.
Yes, Aiden, like a briefcase. Correct. You're like a businessman.
Oh, fun.
So as you go about the night's events, a few days passes, and we find ourselves across town outside of a rather large Memorial Gardens cemetery. This particular day, I assume you want to arrive by day. Joseph and Artie pull up in the beat-up old Jeep. Joseph, you've taken a few rides in this car before, you know how it works, and you seem fairly comfortable with the process because the fact that it's working means that the spirits are working, and that is so important, especially having been so quiet for so long. The cemetery is open, but it seems fairly quiet as this is a weekday and it's primarily during the time most people are working. Perhaps there's a few groundskeepers moving around, a few park representatives, as it does act as a memorial park as well. You're sitting in the driveway kind of looking in, and Artie looks over to you and says, "You sure about this?"
Not at all. But I gotta see what we're walking into before I take the rest of you in there.
She's not going to be happy.
No, but if I show up with the whole group, she'll be even less happy.
So are we going straight to her, or are we kind of eking our way in? Like, what's the plan here, boss? This isn't typical
This
stuff.
isn't yeah. Oh, I don't want to hide. I don't want to look like we're hiding, but I also don't just want to march in and talk to her. So let's just mosey in respectfully, and keep our eyes open and see when if, given how things are, if they notice us and how long it takes.
You got it. And he kind of lets the car move forward a little bit more, eventually finding a very near to the entrance parking spot to pull the car over, and eventually strokes the wheel once more, speaking some words before it falls silent. All right. Should I stay in the car? We doing this together? I mean, I don't know if you want to do this alone.
You can come in. She doesn't have any reason to be mad at you that I know of. And it'll be an easy way to start introducing and maybe show that progress might happen. Give a little hint of what's happening. If you're down, if you're okay with that.
I'm here to help any way I can.
Okay.
This could go one of two ways, so we'll just roll them dice and see what happens.
Right. He'll get out of Regina and pat her and genuinely thank her. Thank you, Regina. I appreciate your cooperation and your help.
He climbs out of his side, closing the door and, running his hand by the door handle, and you can hear the doors lock. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's. He's gonna take a second and take a deep breath and open his eyes and look to the other side.
Okay. So what are the mechanics on that particular ability? To remind everyone.
So Penumbral Senses is a gift I'll be using that allows me to see into the Umbra. I'm going to roll my Intelligence and Wisdom against the current Gauntlet rating in this area.
Okay.
And it costs me a willpower.
So how many successes did you get?
4 successes from a crit.
4 successes from a crit. So, taking a deep breath and closing your eyes, you kind of attune yourself, opening your mind, opening your sight beyond. And as the world as we know it fades away, the darkness sets in. Now, this being a place of rest and peace, it's not immune to the imposing and intruding forces of the worm. It's not immune to corruption. Now, places like this have an advantage in the fact that they aren't overdeveloped. They don't have skyscrapers. They don't have businesses and a lot of foot traffic. But they do contain the dead. And sometimes the restless dead. Looking around, opening your eyes, you see the rolling hills of the cemetery, but it is pockmarked and scarred. There are divots and ditches and tears deep into the ground, likely marking where the graves and gravestones are. You can tell that while burial is kind of like one returning to Gaia, one being placed in, there are definitely graves here that probably shouldn't be. Graves that are an infestation of sorts. You can tell from these pockmarks and wounds that there is almost like an oozy red substance seeping to the surface from them, as if they were holes or markings on a human and on their arms and legs, just pussing and oozing outwards. Upon initial inspection, you look and you see nothing but a desolate wasteland. There are no spirits present in the immediate vicinity, but off over the hills, deep in the park, cresting the horizon, you see the long branches towering, almost like veins or tentacles coming out of the ground, reaching towards the sky, but not quite being able to reach high enough to escape this wasteland, even though you can see them occasionally tremor and shake as if they are trying anything to get out of the earth that they are stuck to.
Take a deep breath. Glance over at Artie. Keep your eyes open. This is gonna be interesting.
My eyes? Because I can't do what you do.
No, just I keep your eyes open too.
You got it.
Don't want to see what I'm seeing.
Probably not.
And he'll slowly lead Artie through the graveyard.
Are you keeping your senses active the
Yeah,
entire
I'm gonna
time?
keep him up for the whole scene.
Okay, so proceeding onward, you can see that there are some patches, probably patches that once upon a time you tended to, or tried to tend to, that still seem to be holding fairly stable. They don't seem like they have been disrupted or disturbed.
Is this worse than, like, has it gotten worse than the last time I've been in here?
It most certainly has. Yeah.
Okay.
There is clearly something that is causing the spread of the pestilence of the worm to infect this place further. The sky, looking upwards, you could see just a faint, thick, kind of smoky fog billowing over the hills, almost like the exhaust of a highly, highly polluted city. You can see it seeping in from the edges of the cemetery and just rolling over it. As you kind of are looking and moving and walking, your eyes are immediately almost drawn over to one side where you see, in an area that you haven't tended to, these almost gremlin-looking figures kind of around a gravestone, perched on the edge, watching, their eyes glowing ever so slightly as they stare at you, their faces slightly distended, and they look like maybe they could have been a spirit, perhaps a squirrel spirit at one time, but they are anything but that now. They don't make any immediate moves in your direction, but they are kind of vigilantly staring as you make your way through.
Pay them no mind. I continue walking in my direction. I don't react or move towards them or even away from them. Just keep moving in my direction. But Artie will see that my fist is clenched more than he's probably seen ever.
He kind of winces slightly, noticing that, before kind of looking around, trying to be the vigilant watchdog that you have asked him to be in this particular regard, but obviously still on edge himself. As you continue further into the park, the limbs, the veins, if you will, growing closer and closer, they start to almost loom over your head, outstretched, as if you were walking beneath the limbs, even though in the world you know you're still quite some distance away from the tree itself. It almost feels like you've already gotten within their notice, and that the limbs are continuing to spread outward over you, preparing to almost perhaps trap you.
Okay. He'll quietly say, Artie, we have her attention. Give me a moment. And he'll look up to the limbs. Honored grandmother, I know that in the past you have not shown pleasure in my presence.
Ash Speaker! I told you last time you were here, you are not welcome.
I know. And I come humbly at the request of others, not of my own.
Arrogance. To think you, of all, could represent others after what you've done?
I regret that I am the one who can speak. And of the small number that I have found, I'm the one with the ability to speak to you. And I'm the one that was asked by the other spirits in the city to seek you out and offer our small groups assistance and service.
Pathetic. It is pathetic what you have become. Not just you, Ash Speaker, but your people. They have left us to die, to rot. They have abandoned everything. What could you do that they could not?
Stand here. I am here, and I will do what I can. What little it may be, I will do it. That's what I can offer. I've traveled down the mountains to come here. I was called here, and I will do what I can. And I only seek the chance. And even if I fail, I will take that chance, and you will be right, and that is okay. But I cannot walk away.
Perhaps I don't let you walk away this time. I gave you your chance, and you failed.
I did fail. And you have every right to do what you can to protect your growth. And to do what you feel is right to protect your growth. And I understand that, and I know I am in your growth. I only ask that you let the others try to help. We are seeking another to find more guidance of what actually happened here. We are looking to remedy some of this throughout the city, and with your permission, through your grove, I've seen things in just the walk here that I've not seen before.
Do not look to Ash Speaker. Do. The others that came before, they did. They proved themselves. You say you are here to bring about good, then bring good. Less talk. There isn't time for talk anymore. I will let you return with these friends. And should they prove themselves, perhaps. Now leave. Be gone. And don't come back until you have something worth coming back for.
Thank you, Grandmother Willow.
You hear almost like lightning in the sky as the limbs start to shake, crashing against each other, sending a cascade of these bleeding red leaves falling down to the earth. The leaves themselves looking like they are being ripped out of the arms themselves and causing droplets of ichor and blood to rain down with them.
Okay. He's going to turn around and not run, but briskly walk out. Yeah, come on.
What the fuck happened?
We're not going to die.
That's good, I guess. Alright, just a sec. and you see him actually go walking off into the graveyard itself, kind of heading in the same general direction as you are, but eventually he kind of comes up to the gravestone that you saw the kind of like creature perched on, and he starts picking up discarded picnic materials from somebody who had come and visited the grave but did not clean up after themselves. There's
He'll walk over
cans
and
and
help.
napkins and discarded, takeout bags. And as with your sight still activated, as you see him kind of removing the pollution, you can see that the creature is kind of twisting almost angrily at response to this action that you're taking. But based off of the size, based off of the type of creature it is, it doesn't seem like it has the ability to do anything about it. It can't pass through easily enough to affect what's happening. But from what you could tell, this is a manifestation of pollution that is responding negatively to the pollution being removed. You pick up
Awesome.
the remaining trash, kind of gathering it and moving it over to a proper receptacle, doing away with it. And as you kind of make your way back towards the vehicle, you look back over your shoulder towards the trash can, and you can see that the hatch of the trash can is open, and the creature is just kind of like spitting and snarling from within the trash can before popping its head back in and the lid flapping shut. You approach Gertie, or I'm sorry, Regina, and get into the vehicle, and Artie kind of speaks to it. God, it's a day. Speaks to it, but nothing happens. Come on, not in front of Joseph. Come on. He speaks
Can I
to it
see
again.
her inside the Jeep?
You do. You see actually several little gremlins kind of trying to mess with the engine as he's speaking, trying to like get it started, trying to put things together and trying to manifest. But the engine itself appears to have roots from the ground up and wrapped around it, holding it down.
I'll look back towards the graveyard and may we leave?
There's a long silence, then kind of a dry, raspy cackle as you see the vines release from the engine block, kind of melting back into the ground, and the gremlins get back to work putting parts together, and then the engine sparks to life. I don't like it here.
Be respectful, Artie.
I love it here. And he quickly puts the car into reverse and backs out of the parking spot before peeling off onto the street, taking you away.
At that point, I'll take my switch my eyes back to seeing the normal world. I'm sorry, Regina, for that. I was not expecting the extra hostility. My apologies.
Not expecting, Artie says. You were like ready to shit your pants when we were pulling up into this place.
It's a mess. It's absolutely a mess, but I think I know one of the ways we can help fix it easily. Little things. You did something great in there, Artie. Your instinct to grab just that little bit of trash you saw made a difference already. Small, but noticeable. I think that's one of the ways we'll start.
Yeah, okay. You drive back, eventually back to the shop, as we transition to a couple days later. Aspen, you received an email on your work email requesting legal consultation from an individual that you've come to find has more in common with you than you might have originally thought. Where would you take this would-be client to dinner to have a meeting?
Nowhere big or fancy. It would be like a little, probably get takeout at a little mom and pop shop and then go to like a picnic table, like in one of the parks.
Yeah. So heading into one of the nicer parks in downtown Tampa, there's actually a really nice river walk by the Armature Works where you can stop in. They have several almost like food cart stands in a repurposed factory that they've turned into almost a marketplace with food of all different tastes, as well as homemade goods in terms of fashion and jewelry. Jester, you and Aspen arrive at the Armature Works. Both of you arriving via your own means. Jester, would you allow your boyfriend to drop you off, or would you take an Uber?
I would probably allow my boyfriend to drop me off.
Okay. So as you kind of pull up to the Armature Works, he looks over at you and says, "Are you sure everything's all right? I mean, you're meeting with a lawyer now?"
Yeah, it's just to cover some bases.
Okay. You're not in, like, actual trouble, right? Like, you'd tell me if you'd done something, right?
Of course, I would tell you if I've done something. It's fine. I am not in actual trouble.
Okay. I guess best to be safe than sorry, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, shoot me a text when you're ready to get picked up, then. Do you want me to come in?
No, I think I want to have the meeting alone for today, but I will send you a text. I'll give him a kiss on the cheek.
Okay. And he kind of smiles, a slight pink coming across his cheeks. All right. Well, yeah, I'll be around. And he gives your hand a squeeze before you get out of the vehicle and head into the Armature Works. Aspen, did you come to this meeting alone?
Before the meeting, I would have texted Aiden, because I'm assuming that I would have gotten him a phone between those
Yes.
couple of days.
You got him the simplest, most modern phone you could.
I would text him, and then I will erase the text, and then I'm just going to call him because I know that will make him answer.
Okay. Aiden, you're lounging about at the campsite again. Getting ready, maybe getting a little bit peckish, but it's still early enough in the day. You could probably wait until dusk when your phone rings. A shrill and annoying tone that almost sounds robotic in its existence. You still haven't learned how to set a ringtone yet. It is just the standard Nokia tone.
Oh God. He'll look at it like, all right, slide green. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Are you hungry? Do you want food?
Ooh. Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, meet me at the RV. We're going to get some dinner.
Ooh. All right.
Also, you can hear me better if you push the little speaker at the bottom.
Which one's that?
Never mind, just get to the RV.
Okay. How do you turn this off?
I just hang up.
Oh, that's how.
When she hangs up, it just goes boop, boop, boop.
Hate this thing.
Okay, so you guys meet up at the RV. You both climb in your car? You have a car, right, Aspen? As well as the RV?
Yeah, She doesn't use it often, but yeah, it's like a little beat up car.
Okay. You were all judgmental about Artie's car. You take your beater sedan out, driving over to the armature works, and when you arrive, you see Jester is waiting out front.
Is that food? Kind of weird.
Just get out of the car. Be nice. Come on.
Fine.
You've met Jester. Come on.
Yeah, well, you said we're getting food, and see, fine, all right.
So, getting out of the car, you park. There's a valet parking available, but you know you don't want to spend the extra cost, so you find a parking spot in one of the many kind of open parking lots that are spread all around, formerly belonging to the factory, but now repurposed to serve the armature works itself. Making your way up, you can see that there's people milling about. Probably some coming in for dinner, early dinner. Most of them a little bit more elderly as they approach, but the armature works does seem to be having a steady crowd coming through right now.
I will get out of the car and head over to Jester. Hey.
Hey, it's good to see you. And I see you've brought Aiden again. Hello, Aiden.
Hello.
And he's your brother, cousin?
A friend. Just a friend.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Thought brother cousins wasn't a thing.
Well, that's complicated. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I actually meant that as like brother question mark cousin question mark, two different questions.
Oh, okay. I said that'd be confused. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
So shall we go in?
Anyway. Yeah, absolutely.
So heading into the armature works, you kind of come in through the doors and it opens up to kind of these long, almost like marketplace alleys, almost like a really, really high-end flea market where they have stalls where restaurants have kind of been installed, most of them with counter or pickup service, which you would get your food. And there's some tables available, but there's also a lovely kind of open outdoor seating area along the river itself where you could walk a little bit more distant away and not have to be subject to the crowds. What kind of food would you like to get? They have pretty much everything.
I think today I will be getting a salad.
Okay. So there is a nice kind of artisanal salad stand where they do make up everything fresh in front of you. You can see they have all the ingredients kind of out on display to show that it is the real deal, and they put the salad together in front of you, adding some extra flair and pizzazz and some more exotic ingredients and a special homemade dressing that they make in-house before serving it up to you.
I will order for Aiden and I will get us 2 beefy cheeseburgers.
2 beefy cheeseburgers. So heading over to a different stand, obviously not the artisanal salad stand, they do have an excellent burger place where they do stack it up really high, and they don't have their ingredients on display, but you could tell that they probably source them from the same place, as the lettuce is extra crisp, the tomato slices are very nicely cut and sizable, and the bread does look like it does come from somewhere local, a local bakery, probably from the same day. And they put your meals together and you take your food and head outdoors. There are some nice kind of rolling overlooks that look over the river itself, and while there are some people sparsely sat about, some have even sat on the grass itself to enjoy their meals, you do find a bench that's a little bit further down the river walk that seems to be vacated, and that there's nobody kind of nearby that's bothering.
I'll sit down and open up my little thing and start mixing up my salad. So, about probably the same day we met, I was contacted by a lawyer from a firm who is representing someone, and they were trying to pay me off to stop talking about them on social media.
Interesting. Care to elaborate on who's representing who and what the situation is?
Is Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman. I'm not sure who they're representing because he didn't actually name names. I believe he was trying to pay me off under the table. But I have a pretty good idea who it might be. I just need, if I could get your help in confirming who it is.
I could do that.
So, Aspen, you've heard stories about Ballard and Anderson and Bateman from Rachel even before you moved here. They are the legal juggernaut of the area. They cater to the wealthy or the well-established, and simply put, they don't lose, no matter who they are fighting for, which is probably why they are as wealthy as they are. However, Rachel has also expressed kind of a dislike of their practices and the clients they choose to represent. But you have been fortunate enough not to go toe-to-toe with them yet. You have not had to work on a case opposing theirs, but others at your firm tell horror stories of having to go to court against them.
Well, seems like it's a rite of passage at this point that I would go head to head with the best of them, the dirty best of them, but the best of them nonetheless. Do you have any inkling of who you've been talking about, bad mouthing, if you will, on social media?
For the past few years, actually it's been longer, I think at least 6 years now, I have been researching and trying to link this particular company with several environmental disasters that have happened both here in Colorado and Florida. They definitely they're a holding company, and they hold like several different companies beneath them. They're known as Endron. They claim to be practicing green, but do you remember that Tampa Bay disaster, the pollution disaster last year?
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure they're involved, and so I have been talking about them a little more, but I can't prove it quite yet.
Well, we could definitely look into some things and look into your social media in general, just to see if there's been any weird comments, strange things happening, and go from there. I wouldn't be surprised if they're involved. But I can do as much as I can. I can help you with whatever you need. We'll take them down.
Great. I also want to say that I'm glad that we met the other night again. It's been kind of lonely here, and knowing that there are some people that I have some things in common is kind of comforting.
You see Aspen being as professional as possible, doing her whole lawyer thing, kind of shifts and gets uncomfortable talking about that part, and she just nods and smiles. Aiden is a friend as well, so now you know more.
Oh, that's great.
I try to be friendly.
He's not the greatest at the social part of it, but he's wonderful.
We're learning. I'm learning.
I think you're perfectly friendly, Aiden.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, I can send you some information for Endron that I've collected if you want to look into them, but be very careful. They are slippery.
I'm sure if you and I put our heads together, we can figure this out. We'll get it worked out, and we can finally take down those assholes.
That would be great. My friends and I, we started this little group, this environmentalist group that we've been trying to fight against them for a few years.
Well, I'm happy to help. I think it'll be a fun endeavor on top of the wonderful things we have to do coming up.
Yeah.
So, as our scene comes to a close, the beginnings of a plan, a scheme, a machination, an uphill battle start to take shape as Jester, Aspen, and Aiden have spoken the company that shall not be named, Endron. They don't really realize how deep that well goes, but over time they'll come to find out. Now we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and when we return, we will be in the present when these pack of Garou come together once more to seek out the mysterious individual that the spirits spoke about, the fallen Stargazer who still dwells within the region that may yet be able to assist them in awakening the spirits in the Caern of Tampa. We'll be back in 5 minutes. We'll see you then. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a nice, relaxing break. Before the break, we saw a little bit more insight into the individuals that make up this pack of Tampa. Now, we are in the modern present day, where the beat-up green, brown, blue Jeep, known as Regina, pulls up upon a trailer park in the northern end of Tampa, just outside of downtown by a little bit. Not that far, it seems, from the cemetery that Joseph and Artie had visited a few days earlier. This mobile home park seems to be more of a permanent residency for the people that stay here. It's not populated with RVs, but instead with long double-wide trailers, some decorated with the most gaudy lawn furniture you could expect in a variety of colors. Even a few flamingo statuettes stand at the ready, guarding each of the properties. As you pull up in the vehicle, it doesn't seem to stand out as opposed to the other trucks and cars that seem to populate the area. Artie kind of hesitantly pulls the car further, deeper into the back of the trailer park, kind of getting into the more and more run-down homes that have been here for quite some time. You can tell that some of the others have been repurposed or refashioned and updated, but these seem to be the long-term residents of this particular park. Eventually, he pulls the Jeep up and pulls into one of the parking spots designated for guests and kind of lifts a hand and points, gesturing over to the mobile home that seems to sit at the very, very far end of the trailer park. The road does not go any further past it. The grass is overgrown, edging over the sidewalk in the driveway. There's not even a car in the driveway or the parking spot designated to this particular unit. The paint is chipping and peeling. The windows seem to be cracked in some places and in others boarded up with boards haphazardly kind of nailed across the windows. The railing and the steps that lead to this small kind of run-down porch are cracked and broken in spots. and you can see littered on the lawn down front that there are several discarded cigarette butts and beer cans that are just covering the front lawn. Even the grass has grown up to almost envelop the detritus, pulling it into the earth ever so slightly. That's the place.
Wow, she really has given up.
Yeah, she's in rough shape, to say the least. I mean, I never knew her in her heyday, but I'd heard tell, and this isn't what I expected, to say the least. When I was looking for people, I'd heard at one of the moots about her, and I tried to seek her out. I mean, I didn't hear a lot of good because her particular family isn't well liked in the nation after they left, but I mean, we're all fighting the fight no matter how we go about doing it. And I just kind of thought maybe there'd be something here, but well, yeah.
The spirits seem to think there's something here. So we'll see what they're looking for.
Okay. Well, her name's Eliza Cobb. As far as I could tell, she's in her 50s at least. Possibly even broke into the 60s, which... that's one old lady. But... probably would be best if someone else took lead on this, because our last interaction didn't go great.
How hard could it be? Just talking to an older woman, giving her some inspiration.
You say so. So he kind of kills the engine on the car. Let's go. And he opens his door and climbs out.
I will climb out as well. Pulling a trash bag from a roll that is on my in my purse, and just shaking it out, and then as we're walking, just slowly picking up some of the trash that we passed.
Okay. Yeah, you can tell that the trash doesn't even just stick to her yard. It goes beyond into the street itself, where you can see flattened cans and just a litter of cigarette butts all along the driveway. It seems to have one of those roundabout end driveways, but you can tell that the two other trailers that are on the opposite sides of her have not been sold in quite some time. They have for sale signs out front that even the sun has started to kind of yellow and fade the printing of the for sale signs. This is not anyone's first choice of somewhere to live.
Ooh, this is gonna take some elbow grease.
Definitely a fixer-upper.
As you approach the porch, you can see that the bottom stair has been broken completely in half, and that the two stairs above it seem to be not any better off. Seem like they're on the edge of collapsing themselves, but looking at them kind of carefully, especially you, Aiden, they'll support your weight for now, but they probably won't last another year or two. As you climb up onto the porch... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say Aspen walks up to the front door and just knocks.
Okay, so as you approach the front door, you can see what looks to be a kind of an old screen door in front of a chipped painted door beyond it with a small trio of windows that would normally ornament a much more fancier establishment, but they do look dated and old. In fact, there's a kind of brownish greasy film over them that only comes from years and years of indoor smoking, causing this kind of imprint on the glass itself. In front of the door is a welcome mat, but it is anything but welcome. In fact, it has the words "Go away" written on it and several little pockmarked burns on it itself. You open the screen door and it groans and creaks as it opens, and you let your hand knock against the surface, the rap kind of echoing out to the room beyond. And for the first several moments, there's no answer. And another few moments pass.
Jester will set the trash bag to the side of the porch for now, head up to stand behind Aspen, kind of look down at the welcome mat. Well, I mean, at least she... Would you call this upcycling?
That's a word. Sure.
I told you I'm paid up through the end of the month. Now fuck off! Comes a kind of rattly but harsh-toned female voice from beyond the door.
Well, that was rude.
Eliza, my name is Aspen Weiss. We'd like to speak to you about a tree issue.
You hear a groan and a grumble, and the door just flies open, and you are greeted by a woman who looks to be about 4'6" at their tallest. Maybe they were taller once, but they kind of are hunchbacked, almost slightly kind of bent over, wearing what looks to be a dirty, pinkish gray bathrobe. Their hair is done up in curlers, messily on top of their head. No makeup, their face a roadmap of wrinkles that kind of spreads out, and a freshly lit cigarette. However, the ash is already starting to get about 1.5 inches long at the end of it. Tree issue?
Yes, ma'am. It's a little more complicated than that.
Okay. Is this one of them fundraisers? Are you here asking for money? Because as you can see, by my humble abode, I'm not exactly the wealthiest person.
No, ma'am. It's more of a worm issue.
You can see her gaze grow very, very dark. That doesn't concern me anymore. You can see yourself out. And she goes to close the door.
I'll just put my foot like a little bit, not to like jolt it or anything, but just so it doesn't close all the way.
Wait, if you could just hear us out. Also, can I clean up your yard?
Why? Is something wrong with it?
Yeah, there's a lot of trash here, and it's just really bad for the environment.
She kind of scoffs ever so slightly. My yard, miss, is the least of your concerns for the environment, I assure you of that. But she doesn't seem to argue as she lets go of the doorknob and kind of walks further into the establishment.
It's also good to, just be in a tidier space for...
I ain't paying for it!
Oh, no. I would never ask for money to help someone clean up a little bit.
So Aspen, your foot's still in the door, but she doesn't seem to be attempting to close it. You can hear her kind of shuffling into the double wide a little further, and the door kind of slowly starts to swing open. You know that smell? That very distinct, almost choking smell of someone who has effectively been clam baking their home with cigarettes for probably 20 years. That hits as the door kind of continues to eke its way open, causing even Artie, who is standing at the bottom of the staircase, kind of back pressed up against the double wide so as not to be seen from the door, go, it's fine, it's fine.
She will walk
a
in.
new smell.
So
I will walk in behind her.
pushing the door open, it is dark, it is dingy, there is a haze kind of permeating the establishment itself. To the left, you see a kitchen where there are piled up dishes. You can see flies kind of buzzing about dishes themselves. You can see a stack of mail that just seems to be spilling over the counter. Over to your right, you see what probably at one point was a sitting area. There's a long kind of floral print couch that has been grayed and dirty with age. These same little black pockmarks kind of all along. There is a coffee table that looks like it once had a glass inlay, but the glass at one point was shattered, and it looks like there is just kind of a piece of plywood laying over the top of it. There is a large ashtray in the center of the table that is literally overflowing. Several of the butts just kind of laying on the table surface itself. There is a recliner off near what looks to be a kind of makeshift fireplace, more like a stove, with no fire in it, with a long pipe that kind of comes up and out the ceiling. Everything has a slight yellow tinge to it. The walls, the wallpaper, the ceiling, even every glass surface has this same yellow tinge. And she kind of shuffles over to the recliner and drops into it. Y'all want something to drink?
No, thank you. I'm fine.
I'm quite all right. Thank you very much.
I'm okay, thanks.
What do you got?
Water or Bud Light?
The bud.
It's in the fridge.
Thank you.
You walk over to the fridge and kind of pull the handle, and it sticks at first. It takes a little of extra force before you wrench it open. No light comes on, no cool air comes out. It might as well be a pantry or a cupboard. There is clearly no power working to this refrigerator at the moment. You see that the top shelf is completely packed with long neck bottles of Bud Light, and that there appear to be the makings of food, although you could tell that one of them was probably a Meals on Wheels dish that was brought to her that is now growing a nice thick layer of mold over it. Underneath the fridge, several palmetto bugs kind of scatter, running off from beneath the fridge itself in various directions underneath other appliances.
I'll grab a beer and hop it open. Go back to the common area.
State your case so I can tell you to leave again. Politely, of course.
Respectfully, we have all been called here. The spirits have been calling us to open the ways again. I understand that most of the previous Garou abandoned this area, and I am saddened by that.
They had
But
no
we-
choice. There was no stopping her. It was
Who
either
is-
stay or be slaughtered.
Who is her?
If you were smart, you'd pack up and head out of town. The spirits have no place here anymore. They're just ghosts.
I have never been called smart. In fact, I've been called very ditzy and dumb at times, so it's not gonna happen for me.
Then you're
I
gonna be
have-
called dead if you stick around. Not by my
Yep.
hand. I don't need to fight anymore. But she finds out you're here. I've never seen a leech dispatch one of us as quickly as she does.
Who is she?
Mary. At least that's what they call her.
And you said leech, correct?
Yeah?
What are you referring to?
Holy shit, you are fresh out the litter, ain't you? Fangers? Vampires? The Walking Dead?
For a moment, I actually look relieved that Aspen asked what it was. Oh, like vampires?
Yeah. Don't tell me you'd never seen a vampire before.
No. I mean, I guess it kind of figures we exist, so.
Oh shit, you are most certainly not ready then.
Which is why we've come to you and humbly ask for your help.
Like the other kid who came sniffing around. Thinks I don't see him stopping by every now and then, but you can't help but hear that goddamn Jeep rolling down the road every few weeks. I can't help you. I can't help anyone.
Can we help you?
Unless you got a time machine, I don't see how. And why would you anyway? You're a part of
Because-
the nation. I assume. You know what the nation is, right?
Yes, I know what the nation is.
Good, because, not knowing about leeches, I had to assume this was kindergarten.
I want to help you because being lonely and being alone is terrible. And I think all of us were alone here for a long time.
I'm not lonely. Like I said, there are ghosts. No spirits, just ghosts.
They're both here.
Then they might be dumber than you are.
They're stubborn. But I've not seen a place look so bad as the cemetery.
You see her expression change ever so slightly. Go ahead and roll me a wits and insight, Joseph.
2 success.
It's hard to kind of discern. Her face seems to be pressed in a permanent scowl, and the wrinkles kind of obscure a lot of the more minute features of one's face, but there's pain at the mention of the cemetery. It was beautiful once. All of it. Yeah, we knew what we were dealing with. We saw it for what it was. We fought. The spirits left before we did. Abandoned us.
Grandmother's still there. She's struggling.
Stubborn old broad.
Yeah, still stubborn enough to threaten to end me, but she's still there fighting. Or surviving. She can't reach the moon anymore.
Was this your Cairn at one point?
Her features kind of soften and her eyes go glassy. Once upon a time.
You still want it to be. You wouldn't still be here if you didn't want that. If you would have left, staying here for a purpose you don't believe in, there's no reason to stay. Unless you still believe in it.
I can't run anymore. She didn't sniff me out. I don't give her a reason to. This home is my coffin. It's my grave. Don't you understand? What I want now is to be left alone and to die. That's all I want. Apocalypse is here. It's happened. It's just waiting to take all of us. Gaia is dead. These are just the maggots crawling on her corpse. There's nothing to save. You hear me? Nothing left. You're too late.
We're still here, though. If she was dead, we wouldn't be.
Right, because we're Gaia's chosen, right?
Right.
Listen, I understand that the past is difficult and some really messed up things can happen being a part of this life. I understand that. That's all I can say. But that doesn't mean you just give up, because then what was all of that for? What was all of that pain for? What was the point of any of the things you did? So now you're sitting here wanting to die, wanting to give up. What does that mean for all the ones you lost? All the ones you will lose because you've done nothing. We all have hard paths. But what we need to do is keep moving forward. For everyone.
Nothing you do is gonna bring them back. What's lost is lost forever. You can fight, you can fury, you can tear down buildings until your claws and your hands are bloody. They're gone, and they ain't coming back.
And this is how you remember them. By giving up.
I will take out my wallet and pull out a piece of paper and unfold it. And on it is a picture, like a very beautiful drawing of the sea, of Tampa Bay Beach. And I'll set it on the table next to the ashtray. I've felt that way before. Maybe not as lost. But I try to keep a reminder of that there is still beauty. And there are people willing to fight for it. Even the humans.
It's a beautiful notion. I
It's a
envy your ignorance. Maybe you will be the ones to save us all. But I will say, bigger, stronger, braver, fiercer than you have tried. And they litter this land with their corpses.
Maybe. And maybe our corpses will join them. But I'm not big on TV, so I'd probably get bored not doing anything.
You should try the casino.
Oh, I don't have enough money to develop a gambling habit.
So, you're right. They're not coming back. But none of our legends can come back. None of our history can come back. That's not what we're looking to do.
What are
We're
you
not
looking to do?
To build. Not to destroy, not to tear down, but to build. There was something here once, and we're looking to build. But we got to do a little cleaning first.
Ain't you read the reports? In 30 years, all this is going to be underwater, maybe even less.
Then the fish will have a beautiful place to swim. But I'd rather them not swim in six-pack rings and more trash and more bile and pus and blood that's on the other side right now.
They had their chance. The best chance any of us was alive to see when they were all forced to stay home. That was the last gasp of a dying world. And they just choked it. With their need to go to their sports games, to go to their bars, to go see all their fucking friends. That was their last chance, and they failed. They can't live without the worm. It might as well just be the same as them now. It's a part of them.
It's a part of everything. They're three. They're a part of everything. They're out of balance. Part of it's corrupt, but it's a part of us. It's how we tear and rip. Like, yes, that's there. But there are people, even them, that are doing things, that are trying to make a difference. We've had our mistakes in the past. We've done horrible, stupid things. We've destroyed. and yet there are still some of us trying to build.
Prove us wrong. If you're so certain and you have nothing to lose, prove us wrong.
I don't
Show
owe
us.
you anything, little girl. I was
don't.
fighting while you were in diapers.
So teach us.
Or at least tell us what we're facing.
Alright, I'll tell you. Maybe it's a warning that'll do you some good. Leeches own this town. From the highest heights to the lowest lows. And not just here. Across the bay as well. Leeches on leeches on leeches. It's like going through a Tennessee River. The amount of leeches that just swarm up on you. There are so many of them. And numbers wasn't the problem. We could handle numbers. But there are a few that even we couldn't stop. Not with our strongest, not with our smartest, not with our most spiritually attuned. They cut through us like we was tissue paper. And beyond that, they ripped open holes. Holes where things unnatural, unholy have come through. Things that you can only have nightmares upon nightmares about. The gauntlet, so-called, is shattered in so many places. That with no spirits, no cairns, no protectors there to keep them. Everything, all of the banes of nightmare come flooding out.
That makes more sense then. That's what I saw the other day.
You know the term ground zero, yes?
Yeah.
You're in it. But there are many others like it all around this world. Hell, out in the Middle East some years past, probably about 12 years ago, hell rained down. Now you're not going to read about it, of course, because them leeches got control of the media, they got control of the government, they got control of just near everything. So you're not going to find anything about it, but I can tell you the world almost ended that very day.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Maybe it did. Maybe this is just the remnants.
Does sound like a lot. Can I tell you a story?
You gonna give me a nighttime story? You better get me a nightcap before you do.
Sure.
And she gestures over to the fridge.
I'll get up and get her a beer. Making mental note of the stage of the fridge. Hand it to her. So, when I was about 6 or so, I wasn't the best at cleaning my room. right? And they'd gotten so bad that I didn't know where to start. Like, I got really overwhelmed on it. And my dad told me, just start with something small a day. There's a t-shirt on the ground, throw it in the hamper. Then do 2 the next day, and 3 the next, and 4 the next. So yeah, the problems are huge. And they're overwhelming, but maybe if we start something small, it'll make a small difference, and then it'll just continue to roll downhill. And you don't have anything to prove to us. You're right. But maybe we have something to prove to you. What could we do to help make you believe that we're worth helping?
Live. Go be with your loved ones. Enjoy the rest of whatever life has to offer you. Put down the fight. It's not your fight anyway. You didn't choose this. You didn't ask for this. You weren't raised by this. This was forced upon you. You don't have to fight anymore. You can just...
Jimmy didn't ask.
Well then, you might be the most foolish of them.
No. Friend of mine didn't ask to spend every night watching a Bane at the foot of his bed. He didn't ask for that. It just chose him. And he had no way to fight it. He laid there, near comatose, just staring at this thing, knowing it was there watching him, waiting for him to sleep. Could do nothing about it. They have no idea what they're facing. They have no one that can make a difference on that level. So yeah, I didn't ask to be turned into whatever this is. I didn't ask to see the other side. I didn't ask to see the things walking through that cemetery the other day. But I can do something about it, and I can respond and react and make a little difference, which each little spirit I see or each little person, where they're walking around blind, not realizing that the thorns in the woods are stabbing them every step they take. My eyes are open and I can't close them.
I'm sorry. I really am. But I can't help you. That life left me just like I left it. You're looking at a broken down house with no lights on. I hope that you're right. I truly do. But I don't have it anymore. Even if I wanted it, which for a while I did. Every now and then I wake up wishing I could go out to them woods, that I could commune with the spirits that were my closest companions for the longest time. Many have come to talk to me in the past, and all of them have left empty-handed. And it's not because you're not special. It's not because Gaia didn't choose you.
You have enough to offer hospitality and a beer. That's more than just an empty house. And I'm not leaving empty-handed. I'm leaving a little bit more tipsy. So for that, I thank you.
I don't believe I caught any of your names.
I'm Malicious Jester, or you can just call me Jester.
I'm Aiden.
Aspen Weiss. Nice to meet you. And she'll reach out her hand to shake her hand.
She kind of holds out a long-fingered, kind of unmanicured, dirty hand and gives it a gentle shake. It feels so frail, even in your grasp, that if you just gave it enough of a squeeze, you could probably shatter all the fingers in that hand. And it is cold. Not corpse cold, but definitely cold old lady hands.
Ash speaker.
So Jester's got the jokes, Ash Speaker's talking to dead things, and what about you two? What's the purpose for you? We got the zealots, what about you?
What's a zealot?
Oh, okay. Lupus born.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I thought they stopped making them. Good to see
Uh,
there's still a few around.
Yeah, first one in a while.
Well, that explains you. What about you?
What would you like to know?
Why this?
It's what we're meant to do.
Is it? Or is that
Yes,
what
ma'am.
you've been told?
What would the other reason be?
Because it's some sick, cruel joke? Some trickery played on us? Some fun to be had by the worm before the end? You're right, it is lonely. It's not lonely just for us, but you gotta assume it's lonely for them too. You run out of things to destroy, you make them.
I would have to agree with you. It is a cruel joke. In a lot of ways. A lot of life is a cruel joke in a lot of ways. And I know it sounds cliche, but this life, our old life, what have you, is what we make it. And if it's just a cruel joke without a punchline, what's the point? You know, it's just a bad joke. Might as well make it a good joke, make it worth it, give it a purpose.
Nothing good came from the worm in a long time. Well, this has been entertaining, to say the least. But I hear the slots calling my name. I'll tell you what. You want to come by and yak it up again? Consider this further hospitality. I wish I could help you. I really do. I can tell you what I know, I can tell you what I've seen, but there is no power left in me.
That knowledge is a power of its own. I appreciate the offer.
Thanks for the company. She
Thanks
gets
for the
up
beer.
and starts shuffling down a hallway and opens the door to what looks to be like a bedroom further back in the double wide. Everybody roll wits and awareness. Okay. What you got there, Jester? 2. Okay. So Aiden and Joseph, you're the only ones to catch wind of it, but just beyond the crack of the door as it opens, something moving catches your eye. And you know those nighttime constellation toys that children have that they kind of whir and the stars move about on the sky? You can kind of see just little hints of moving starlight kind of moving around beyond the door frame. As you head out, making your way back to the Jeep, Aspen, as the last one to leave, you hear her voice call to you and just be like, hey,
Yes.
you can go back if that's what you want. You just gotta realize how pointless this is.
I'll put my hand on her shoulder. It has to mean something. And I'm going to activate ancestral conviction
Okay?
so that my words have more conviction when speaking to another Garou.
Okay, and what are the mechanics behind that?
The mechanics, it just gives me my honor to persuasion.
Okay, so go ahead and make a charisma and persuasion with your honor.
That would be 8 with a crit.
Okay. You see her kind of consider getting that same glassy-eyed, far-off look. But she doesn't say anything as she leads you out and shuts the door behind you. Approaching the Jeep, you see Artie trailing behind, who has stayed really quiet this whole time, trying not to get noticed or called upon. He kind of tilts his head to the side and kind of rushes over to the car and pulls up one of the windshield wipers where there appears to be a business card stuck in. And he looks over it for a moment and then holds it out for one of you to take. And as you take it and look over it, it says, "The Mongols MC," with an address in eastern Tampa. And on the back, it says, "Some of us still fight." And that is where we're going to bring this session to a close.
I did want to add, before I left, I would have left the drawing with
Okay.
her. And I'll pick up the bag of trash I had set to the side and take it with me.
Okay. So taking it and disposing it of one of the dumpsters. You have a new lead. Even though Eliza didn't prove to be as helpful, maybe there is some hope there left. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Go check them out on social media. Stay tuned to this channel. If you're not caught up what's happening in Rage Across Tampa, go back and watch the old episodes either here on Twitch in the highlights section or over on YouTube, where we post the episodes every Sunday going forward. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute delight having you. and we'll see where the story takes from here. Go follow us on social media and go support our sponsors. You'll see them in the credits after this. They offer a lot of amazing, incredible services, and they will take care of you just like we hope to take care of you with stories well into the future. Good night, everybody.